want to do a video on transference, and this is a question I got in from the Facebook group quite recently. Someone just asked me to elaborate on what transference is, and another term for transference is projection. And basically what you're doing is you're projecting old emotions or old developmental needs onto another person. So these could be emotions that you from childhood, fear, anxiety, anger, which was never fully processed or couldn't be expressed to the right person. They stay with us and it gets re-triggered now onto an adult relationship. Or the needs could be parental needs, it could be love, it could be support, it could be any form of approval. If we didn't get enough of that as children, we may go seeking that now in someone that reminds us of our parents. And that person who reminds us, it could be someone who we perceive to be senior to us. It could be a boss in work. It's very common to see within psychotherapy, often our clients project that parental attachment onto their therapist. It's very common, we have to be very careful with it. But it could be with your partner, and you may find that in later in life you start chasing relationships and start transferring your old relationship with your mother or your father into your romantic relationships now. But the problem is that person cannot fulfill those needs. You start transferring onto the wrong relationship, and it creates huge emotional distress. Now, there's other examples of transference. Even one quite recently, I saw someone, they said hello to somebody in work, and the person responded by saying fine and said nothing else and walked off. And straight away that person who initially said hi, they start to transfer their own fears and worries or their own guilt. Did I do something wrong to this person? Did I make a mistake earlier on? And they start to internalize that person's behavior, but then they transfer those feelings onto the person that just said fine, and then it changes their behavior. They become more approval seeking. These kind of tippy-toe around the person, and are you okay, and did I do anything wrong, and they're almost apologizing for something that they didn't do. Now, within therapy, we have to be very careful with transference because it's a very common phenomenon, and it's something that we need to mind within ourselves as well as within our clients. An example of transference that I dealt with quite recently was I was working with a client, and she just kind of casually said, I hate my brother and I'd love to kill him. People say that. She had no intentions of actually killing her brother, and people make remarks like that, but that triggered a fear inside me, and I thought that Jesus, maybe she might do this, and that's my stuff. That's my fear, my need to protect other people. But then counter-transference is the reaction to that, when because of my fears I change my behaviour slightly to her, and I become much more needy for security, so I need her to reassure to me that she's not going to do that. But then her reaction to that is that she might feel guilty because I took her serious, and she looks up to me and she seeks my approval, and she may perceive that I'm judging her. So there's another example of transference going back, and we all do it, and we're all human. But as therapists, we have to be extra vigilant, and because it really, our old issues and our own emotional upset should never interfere with the current therapy. Now, the first step in resolving transference is really, first of all, identifying your triggers and identifying your needs in relation to that triggers. So if something is upsetting you, it's about being curious. What's happening now? What is this? Why is this bothering me? What has happened? And it's important to not react. It's just stay calm and decide for yourself what's going on here. And then you ask, well, what do I need from this situation? What am I looking for off this person? Can that person fulfill that need? Do I really need an external presence to fulfill that need? Is there something I can fulfill within myself? Now, one way of resolving transference is through anchoring, and we all have anchors. An anchor is essentially a sensory association with a memory or with an emotion or a feeling or some other aspect of life. We all have them. An example could be listen to a piece of music. It may anchor a memory of an old boyfriend or girlfriend. A smell may remind you of a situation. Just walking into an environment may remind you of very unpleasant feelings of walking into a similar environment, and they're called anchors, and they're lodged inside our psyche. But we can also use them to our advantage. And what I often do with my clients is that I get them to hold on to very potent memories when they were strong, times when they expressed themselves and they got a positive reaction to that, times when they're having fun, times when they're creative. But when they hold on to that memory, I ask them to take their non-dominant hand. So in my case, it's my right hand. I get them to connect their thumb and their finger and close their eyes and hold on to that memory for as long as they can. And if it's 5-10 minutes, it's great. And what we're doing is we're creating an association between that healthy, positive memory and this anchor. And it means then that the stronger the anchor it is, the more likely we'll revert back to it, and we can recall it when we need it. And specifically in times when there's high stress and emotions taking over, and we can't quite rationally think our way out of what's happening at the moment. For me, I use them a lot when I'm giving public talks, when I'm public speaking or giving workshops, whatever else I'm doing. I find this anchor comes in quite handy. It helps me to stay grounded and stay present, and I'm able to control the emotions, and it helps them to pass quicker. Now, we all are prone to transference. We all have anchors, and that's just being the part of being life and being a human being. We have to keep going and keep processing it. But the biggest thing is just to be curious of it. It's not an easy thing to change, but it doesn't have to be the end of the world either. Be curious of your anchors. Be curious of all your different transferences, the times when someone annoyed you and you maybe overreacted a little bit, other times when someone gave you a look and it's such a simple, subtle look, but it triggers fear inside you. Ask yourself, well, where does this come from? Is this something from before? Did somebody else look at you this way? Maybe it was your mother, father, brother, auntie, uncle, someone in your family from when you were very young. Because all these experiences, they get lodged in our brain, and there's a specific region called the hippocampus, and it's where all our long-term memories are held. And often we're recalling these memories unconsciously. And also there's an area in the brain called the amygdala, and that's where we store a lot of our emotions. So that's where we map memories with the associative emotions. If they're strong emotions and negative emotions, they get fired and they come into the present, but they're past memories. They really don't have as much to do with the present. So again, all you can do is be curious for now. Just be aware of what's happening, find out what your triggers are, and make peace with your triggers, because they don't necessarily go away. And life isn't about always being happy and always being calm. It's about being human and dealing with all the different struggles that we have internally and the different worries that we might have and different emotions, and just quietly and calmly processing them, and try to establish as many anchors as you can, and literally put aside 5-10 minutes and hold on to the most healthiest, happiest memories that you have, and I guarantee you have more than 5 or 6, and use them to your advantage and derive strength from those. So that's it, guys. Have a great weekend. Talk to you soon. Bye bye.